Hey everyone, Lee Burkhardt here and welcome to our online video channel. On today's episode, we're going to be taking a closer look at the Nauticam housing for the Alexa Mini and Mini LF cameras. We'll discuss the installation and setup, all of the features that really stand out, additional gear you should consider adding, and more importantly, what kind of benefits this equipment offers for underwater filmmaking. Now we're going to break this video down into several categories for you, so be sure to see the timeline notes in the video description below if you want to skip to a specific section. So let's get started by first taking a closer look at some of the housing features. The housing is designed for both single operator run-and-gun style filming that's perfect for things like documentary and natural history work. But it's also designed for multi-camera operator use as well, making it ideal for commercial and film production sets. This is actually really unique in the sense that you have one housing that can serve a multitude of different roles depending upon your production's individual needs. For the single camera operator, there are dedicated cinema-style knobs located along the left and right sides of the housing for precise control over focus, iris, and zoom, along with manual controls for on-off toggling and record triggering. The housing also features an REGPB1 control unit, which interfaces with a wide variety of controls located on both the left and right sides of the housing. Each of these controls can be custom key mapped to a variety of camera controls for things like ISO, frame rates, exposure assist tools, focus assist tools, and many more, allowing the operator to customize whatever controls they need access to during the shoot. The housing supports multiple camera operators with full remote operation through the use of the Nauticam LCS surface cable. The cable routes directly from the camera housing to an REWCU4 remote at the surface and allows for full iris, focus, and zoom control of the lens, along with a number of camera operations. Thanks to the internal space provided by the Nauticam housing, there's enough room for internally mounting the CFast Mini, the CFast Plus, and the CFast RF motors. These motors drive the housing lens control assemblies, not the lens itself, meaning any lens supported in the housing can be set up for surface control of focus, iris, and zoom. The Alexa Mini features a built-in motor controller as well, meaning that the entire system can be set up without any motor controller box. In addition, these motors are mounted on purpose-built brackets affixed to the Nauticam camera tray, so they don't even need to be removed when changing lenses or when pulling the camera from the housing, making your job on the shoot that much easier. All along the housing you'll find multiple 1/4-20 and 10mm threaded holes. These can be used for attaching a wide variety of accessories, such as lighting, external monitors, tripods, or for rigging the housing to things like cranes, dollies, or jibs. The housing also includes a trim weight set, and these mounting locations can be used for attaching them onto the housing to balance the trim of the entire camera rig for neutral buoyancy depending on your lens and port combination. The housing ships with a V-mount battery plate, along with a LEMO connector for providing power to the Alexa Mini camera. Ample space is available for a range of battery pack sizes to be used in the housing, providing long operation times. You'll find power, vacuum, and tally lights are easily visible on the rear of the housing to ensure you don't miss capturing that critical scene and can operate the cinema system with the confidence of knowing the seal is watertight. Nauticam includes several M16 bulkheads for routing an SDI connection to external monitors, such as the Atomos Ninja 5 and the Small HD 503 and 502 bright monitors. These monitors make a great solution for any underwater video shooters, as they provide a larger, brighter 5-inch screen for viewing and are absolutely loaded with all kinds of assist tools, such as focus peaking, false color, waveforms, and many more that make your job underwater so much easier. There's also an option for routing a video signal directly from the underwater camera up to the surface, using Nauticam's 15-meter and 45-meter SDI surface cables. A topside DP or film crew member can now easily see what the dive camera operator is shooting, and even communicate directly with them using underwater comms equipment. We put together a series of videos and articles on all of these options that discuss all of their features in the installation process in much more detail, so be sure to check those out in the video description below. The housing is designed with the owner and operator in mind, and the setup on this really couldn't be any easier. In fact, you can build the entire system in just several minutes. To get started, you want to first begin by attaching the left, right, and top handles. Ensure the handle locking mechanism is set to the open position. Slide the handles into place on the housing to a location of your preference. Then turn the handle locking mechanism clockwise and into the lock position. Use this same process for all 3 handles. We'll get started by taking a look at the single operator installation process. For this process, you'll need an Allen key set, the lens control assembly tower, the third lens control assembly, and the lens control assembly tower support bracket. You'll want to start by rotating the housing locking latch counterclockwise to open the rear housing door. Move the camera tray lever to the release position, and then pull the tray out of the housing from the rear. Using an Allen key, bolt the tray onto the bottom of the Alexa Mini camera using the 4 Allen screws. With the tray attached to the camera, slide the lens control assembly tower into place on the front of the camera tray. And then move the lens control assembly tower lever into the lock position to secure it in place. Using an Allen key, bolt the lens control assembly tower support bracket to the top left side of the camera using the 2 Allen screws. If you're using a zoom lens, you'll also need to attach the third lens control assembly to the right top side of the camera using an Allen key and 2 Allen screws. Next, loosen the small ratcheted thumb tabs and thumb screws found along the lens control assemblies by turning them counterclockwise. Then carefully align the focus, iris, and zoom gears on all 3 of the Nauticam drive shafts into alignment with the lens's integrated gearing. Once the focus, iris, and zoom gears are aligned, turn the small ratcheted thumb tabs and thumb screws found along the lens control assemblies clockwise to fasten them into place. You can use a flathead screwdriver to secure the thumb screws if needed. There are additional Nauticam drive shafts included with your housing package. All of these are stackable, allowing you to extend the drive shafts if you're using longer lenses. Simply remove the drive shaft cap by turning it counterclockwise. Insert the Nauticam drive shaft extension, and then use an Allen key, turning clockwise, to secure the drive shaft extension into place. With the camera and lens installed, perform a quick function test to ensure everything's working properly. Once you finish with the camera tray and lens assembly, you'll need to plug in the cables for supplying both power and control to the camera. For this step, you'll need a V-mount battery, the Nauticam 5-pin LEMO cable for connection to the sub-control unit of the ARRIGPB1 shown here, the Nauticam 6-pin LEMO EXT cable for connection to the ARRIGPB1 shown here. Both of these LEMO cables are included with the Nauticam Alexa housing package, by the way. First, you'll want to connect the power supply cable from the V-mount plate to the battery input on the camera. Then connect one end of the 5-pin LEMO cable to the sub-control unit found on the back door of the housing, and the other end to the input located on the Nauticam lens control assembly tower found on the left side of the housing. Then connect one end of the 6-pin EXT LEMO cable to the NXT input for the ARRIGPB1 control unit found on the back door of the housing, and the other end to the EXT output found on the rear of the Alexa Mini camera. Also be sure to connect any SDI cables you may be using for an external monitor or for routing an SDI signal up to the surface. Lastly, attach your V-mount battery to the V-mount plate found inside the housing's rear door. Now that everything's connected, you'll want to install the camera into the Nauticam housing. Carefully guide the assembled unit into the housing and push it all the way in. Then move the camera tray lever back into the lock position. Close the rear door. And rotate the housing door latch clockwise and back into the lock position. The housing is built around Nauticam's N200 port system and includes a total of 3 extension rings along with a 250mm glass dome port. This, combined with the lens control assembly shown earlier, means your lens options with this housing are virtually limitless. The port assembly is also really easy and features a completely toolless design thanks to Nauticam's patented port locking lever. To get started, you want to first begin with the extension rings. There's a 30mm extension ring, a 40mm extension ring, and a 50mm extension ring. These can be used individually or in combination to accommodate the length of your camera lens. First, ensure that the extension ring lever is set to the release position, then align the white line on the extension ring to the white dot on the dome port. Rotate the extension ring clockwise so that both the dot on the dome port and the dot on the extension ring are now aligned. And then move the extension ring lever back into the lock position to secure it onto the dome port. With the port built, move the port lever found on the housing to the release position. Align the white dot on the extension ring to the white dot on the housing. Push the port into place, and then move the port lever back into the lock position to secure it in place on the housing. Nauticam's moisture alarm electronics are included, by the way, along with their vacuum electronics system. This provides some peace of mind that you've assembled the entire kit properly and it's safe to dive before you even enter the water. For instructions on performing a vacuum pre-check test, just see our installation guide found in the video description below. To get started with this installation, you'll need an Allen key, a flathead screwdriver, a crescent wrench, the Nauticam LCS cable and bulkhead, C-Force motors. For this guide, we'll be using 3 of the C-Force mini motors, 3 Nauticam C-Force mini motor mounting brackets, note, if you're using the C-Force Plus motors, please use the bracket shown here. 3 ARRI bus cables, and the ARRI WCU4 remote. You'll want to follow the exact same steps mentioned earlier in this video for the single operator camera and lens assembly to set up the camera and housing. Once this is completed, you'll want to start by removing the 3 butterfly clamps found on the CForce Mini motors. Just turn the butterfly clamp counterclockwise and remove them from each of the motors. Next, using a flathead screwdriver, remove the plastic gear from each of the CForce Mini motors by turning the screws counterclockwise. Then install the 3 metal gears included with your Nauticam Alexa housing onto each of the CForce Mini motors. Slide the motor onto each of the Nauticam CForce Mini mounting brackets. Then start by installing the first CForce Mini mounting bracket shown here on the top left of the camera using an Allen key and the 2 Allen screws to secure it in place. Then the same process for the second CForce Mini mounting bracket shown here on the bottom left side of the camera. And the same process again for the third CForce Mini mounting bracket shown here on the top right side of the camera. With the brackets attached, move each CForce motor into place until they're engaged with the Nauticam control assembly gearing, and then turn the ratcheted thumb tabs clockwise to secure each motor into place. Next, you'll need to plug in the ARRI bus cables. These can be arranged in any order, just ensure that one end is plugged into the ARRI lens mount shown here. And the other end into one of the CForce Mini motors. The remaining 2 L-bus cables can be plugged into the remaining 2 motors and daisy chained to the first motor that's plugged into the lens mount. Just an important note, the housing will support up to 1 CForce Plus motor if you prefer. If you're using this motor, you'll follow all of the same steps mentioned earlier, but instead use the larger Nauticam metal gear shown here on the motor, and install the Nauticam CForce Plus mounting bracket shown here on the lower left side of the camera tray. With all of your motors now installed, remove one of the M16 bulkhead caps from the rear housing door by turning the cap counterclockwise using a flathead screwdriver. With the cap removed, install the LCS bulkhead shown here. Just rotate the bulkhead clockwise into the M16 opening using your hands, and then use a crescent wrench to tighten the LCS bulkhead into place. Next, connect the 6-pin LEMO cable found at the end of the LCS bulkhead to the NXT output found on the GPB1 control unit located in the rear housing door. Then connect the LCS surface feed cable to the LCS bulkhead you just installed and rotate the metal collar clockwise to secure the cable into place. Then connect the other end of the LCS surface cable to your ARRI WCU4 remote. Follow the instructions with your ARRIWCU4 remote to calibrate each of the lens gears. Once the calibration is complete, perform a quick function test to ensure each of the motors is working properly. The WCU4 remote provides remote control over focus, iris, and zoom. In addition, you have direct access to many of the camera settings directly through the remote as well. Once you've completed your function test, finish the installation using the exact same procedures mentioned earlier in our single operator installation. Overall, we're thoroughly impressed with the Nauticam housing's features for underwater filmmaking, and I hope today's video has been useful for any of you considering picking this gear up from us. Now, if you liked today's video, you'd like to see more content like this from us, or if you're just curious and learning more about underwater imaging, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons found just below the video here. Of course, feel free to leave any questions in the comments section below, or just contact our staff directly. And to check out more of our other articles, videos, and other content, you can visit our website and just click on the Learn tab found along the top of the home page. Well, I think that's going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more cool videos to come soon, and we'll see you on the next one.